look around. People living life in the dark and they're broken. Man, we gotta slow down. If we choose to ignore it, then our hearts get frozen. Everybody has a purpose, and everybody has a story that's worth sharing. We need a little more love and a little more caring.
I'm your host, Sarah Bartlett, and I'm here with some incredible people. I have Tyler and Krista Jones in the studio. Hey. They're visiting from San Diego, and we're going to have a fun conversation. So let's jump into this smoothie in Cuba. I want to talk about the mango smoothie. Can I hear all the details about the story? Because this is just wild.
Yeah. This was really, I would say, like a eye-opening experience for us. So we spent, how long was that?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks in Yara, Cuba. And I'll never forget it because when we pulled in, first off, it was like the most turbulent flight landing I'd ever had.
Oh my gosh. This is a small plane for Miami, right?
Yeah,
so these little planes.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So it was like, you pull in, but what was really cool is, out here in the States, you order an Uber, you order a Lyft.
Yeah.
Out there, it's basically all the cars are like super old, old school classic cars.
So when you're saying old, is it like 50s? Because I still haven't been. I really want to go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like for our viewers that haven't been, like I think it's like 50s and 60s cars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But they don't have like a BMW. I'd guess like a repair shop for anything, or a Chevy repair shop. So they just use any parts from any car in that era, and they make it work.
So they make it work.
So you've got like BMW parts on like a Toyota Land Cruiser or
it's even
like
crazier
that.
than that.
Oh,
you have like old movie theater seats inside of like a bus. Like we were picked up in this like 1950s like Chevy school bus. It was pretty cool.
That's wild. That's very cool.
So yeah, so we got picked up by that bus. It was super cool, and we're driving around, and we were staying with a family. It was a mom, her son, and then her husband, who was a stepfather to the son. And before we went to Cuba, they said, "Okay, don't drink the water, right? Like just." Don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Like unless you want to get really sick.
I've heard this.
Yeah, it's kind of like going to Mexico kind of thing. Like just don't drink the water, right?
Yeah.
So, we're like very like self-conscious about like, okay, we buy bottled water. I mean, we had like life straws, like everything, right? And so we're staying with this family, and they were very, very hospitable. And the first thing that they do is they give us a tour of their house, and they say, oh, and we've been saving something very special for a very special occasion, and that's you coming. Like this is very special to us, right? I mean, like I don't think it's every day that Americans visit this part of Cuba. It's very poverty stricken, and just kind of it's not Havana.
It's a small town, right?
Very much so. Yeah, and so we're like, okay, like special surprise, like what is it? Is it like a puppy? Like what's going on here? Like what's the surprise? And they bring out of their freezer like a mango.
First they showed us. So they open up the freezer, and lodged in the ice is a frozen mango.
Just like a mango.
Just one.
Yeah, and we're like, oh, cool! Like this is gonna be the best mango ever, Like, all right, cool. It's like we're expecting, like, all right, we're gonna slice it up and eat it. Unfortunately, the mom we were staying with, she's like, I'm gonna make you a smoothie. So we're like, okay, cool.
So she gets a knife, starts hacking away at the ice inside the freezer to get this mango out.
And then she takes the mango, and what does she do? We all would do this, right? She basically takes it and she rinses it off with the sink water, and we're like looking at each other like,
it's like your heart drops in your stomach, and you're like, what? How am I gonna do this?
Like how am I gonna tell his family, like, oh, you guys like your special mango, like we don't want your special mango, And anyways, so we literally just we just said a prayer. We're like, we have to do this. So, and I will tell you that it was one of the best smoothies I've ever had, and we didn't get sick at all.
It wasn't
wow.
Which is crazy.
That's incredible.
So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was and it was just really eye-opening, because it was like, wow, like this is their gift that they they had for us was just like a mango, something that we can go to the store and just buy, but it was so special to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
the things that we take for granted here, they don't have. Like,
for sure.
You know, I've heard so many stories about if you go to the doctor there, like you have to take your own medical supplies. Like if you go to get bandaged up, you take your own bandages because they just don't have it, which is crazy to think. Right?
Yeah, it definitely, you come back and, you know, you're just thankful in the States for air conditioning, clean water, and running faucets and toilets are pretty nice too. So,
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time.
So when you went to Cuba, like, what do you think you learned the most about the Cuban people that you didn't know before? Like, what was your experience of the people there?
Oh, their reliance on community with their neighbors, friends, and pretty much everyone that they know there is so much higher than it is for us here. They do not pass a day without having a full conversation with pretty much everyone they encounter while they're walking from place to place within their community. And it is not uncommon whenever we come back. We had pretty full days when we were there. And so when we'd come back, sometimes 9, 10, 11, 12 at night, they would still be on the porch talking, having coffee at
12 a.m.
At 12 a.m. and just sitting and talking on the front porch. And that was their normal. That's their everyday. TV is not common in every home, and it's not a pastime, and electricity is infrequent, and so spending time on devices is non-existent there, really.
Really incredible sense of community, and I would say hospitality and generosity, even though they don't have much where we were, right? Where we were, I can't speak for all of Cuba. I would say that their hospitality is only challenged by, I would say, the Kiwis in New Zealand, because the New Zealanders are very hospitable.
I would say based on how much they have,
you guys have been to New Zealand?
So
I'm dying to go to New Zealand.
It's added to the list, that's for sure. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It was incredible.
So beautiful.
But I would say that sense of community was very interesting to see. People reliant upon each other. And, like out here in the States, like we can be like independent and like kind of just doing our own thing. It's very easy to get in your own independent circle, or your own bubble, I should say. But yeah, that was pretty incredible.
Well, I think even going to the house that we were staying at, when you go to someone's house and their bathroom is just immaculate, and you're like, wow, this person knows how to clean their bathroom. Like, this is great. Well, I didn't. They, showed us the bathroom and said, "What do you think?" And we said, "Wow, this is really nice." And they said, "Yeah, great. We had it tiled for you."
They tiled it for you to visit.
Tiled the entire bathroom, painted the walls, had a mirror, which had not existed before we visited for that time.
Wow.
They painted the walls in the bedroom we were staying in. It was the only room that had painted walls at all, and it was painted cinder block. They don't have glass windows in their house, and so they have kind of like screens, kind of blinds that you close at night. And they had a blanket on the bed, brand new.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's probably, there's no telling how much they spent on that, right? That could have been a whole month
of salary
for them to be hospitable to you guys.
For sure.
Incredible.
Yeah. So just be generous with what you have, I think, was, something I learned is just like, wow, they just freely gave, so. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was life-changing.
Yeah.
You come back, like I said, you're just thankful for, we're not a perfect country by any means, but, we certainly don't have that much to complain about out here.
It's so true. It's so true. I keep hearing about the amazing music down there and the, I don't know, I'm trying to articulate it well, I guess the passion that the Cuban people have for music. Did you all experience that when you were there?
100%. Yeah.
We sure did.
We were at we were connected with a house church there, and out here in the States, when we do worship, we do music, and there's nothing wrong with this, but you got the guitar, you got the bassist, you got the drummer, and that's all great.
Yeah.
But
you've got your 3 songs. And then the announcements,
very
and then the next thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like the third song, could be like you sing the same verse over and over for an hour, right? But but in Cuba, it was wild because They had, man, I think they had like 2 trumpet players, a saxophonist, a bongo player.
Oh, wow. Come on.
And a cowbell player, like just one person specifically on the cowbell. And then, the guitarist and all that. And hours and hours and hours and hours.
On Tuesday night, we didn't realize, but that was their fancy service. And so they kind of looked at us before we arrived like, oh, you're going to wear the same thing you wore earlier in the day.
They're all suited up and stuff, yeah.
Suited up. Permanent press. I mean, just like
I heard about this, like the Cuban fashion, like the men are like decked out, and then they're like even in the heat wearing like nice dress shirts in the heat and the humidity down there, which is crazy. I heard.
Oh yeah, like they like to look nice.
Yeah, it's part of they have like both a humility and a sense of pride and integrity for their appearance. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And we were there. I mean, I think it was like a 4-hour long. Or it didn't feel like 4 hours, but it was.
But it sure got hot. It was a very small room.
Space, yeah.
It was, one room and about 80 people inside of it. Everyone, praising with all their might, and it got sweaty.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I feel like you're dancing around and stuff.
Everyone was dancing.
Wow.
But it was not just soulful. It was vivacious
too.
It was full of energy and enthusiasm that you don't see here.
Yeah,
not the same. So
yeah. Like speak on that too. Like they're a very faith-filled people, right? Like, what's your experience of their relationship with Jesus and with God?
I think it's when Jesus is all you have. I think he means more.
Yeah,
it's kind of like those who are forgiven much love much. But I think that it seemed to me, at least when we were there, that there wasn't as many distractions out there. And this was our experience because we lived in China for a short time as well, where totally different culture, totally different atmosphere, for lack of a better term. And I think that when in Cuba you can openly be Christian, like it's not that big of a deal, but in China it's not, it's generally frowned upon. And so I think that the Cuban people with their relationship with Jesus, I think it's an open relationship, and so you kind of can have more of a sense of community, I think, but then too, again, where we were, I can't say this is all of Cuba, but where we were, Jesus was vital, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe you can speak to this a little bit more, but I mean, some of the people we knew had entire chapters, like memorized, like
certainly.
Of scripture.
Their scripture memory was beyond.
It's incredible.
Beyond.
Which doesn't mean that it doesn't mean, just because you have something memorized doesn't mean that I just think that's a byproduct of okay, it just goes to show that that's
it's significant to them.
For sure.
Yeah. And probably more to your point that you made earlier, there's less technology, so less distractions, more focus on scripture and the word.
And more reliance on their memory as well, because there is not a blue letter Bible to look up the references that you want
Google
to.
that really quick.
Yeah.
So that really quick.
That's right.
So we'd ask us a question about a specific, very specific question, and they would have 5 Bible verses to back up their answer.
Wow.
Which is something I've never been able to do, to not only know the references, but then to open it up and or be able to recite it on the spot, which is it's very impressive.
Oh, yeah, that's goals for me right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And just to add a little bit to their concept of Jesus, and I think here in America, the United States, we really love our freedom. And we should. Freedom is an amazing thing, an amazing gift. Since they don't have freedom there, Jesus is their only freedom. And so here we have this strange, convoluted patriotism that we think, maybe there's certain things that we deserve when it comes to freedom, or maybe there's some things we take for granted.
Entitlement.
Yeah,
Entitlement.
Yeah.
And their they know that true freedom comes through Christ, and it's not physical necessarily. It's this freedom to be able to express themselves to the Lord, and maybe the Lord only on certain issues that here we have never known.
That is so powerful.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh my gosh. So powerful. Yeah, if you guys could, like, speak on whatever you can about the level of oppression that they're under the government. Just like the food rations, the whatever you feel like you can speak on, just so that people who haven't been have a little bit more of a clear picture, kind of the atmosphere of oppression that's down there.
Well, it was interesting because when we flew in, the bumpy plane ride, right? Going back to the bumpy plane ride, Kristen said something like, "Whoa, like I just feel like different, like it just like automatic, like right when we were in like over Cuba kind of thing." And I think that when I once heard someone articulate this very well, and they said something to the extent of, the Cubans are prisoners in their own country, and I think that was what we experienced, was that, going back to the freedom discussion, I mean, it felt like there was not a lot of hope or opportunity, at least where we were, right? And we're still in touch with the Cubans that were hospitable to us, and people in the church there, and they will do whatever it takes to come to the United States. And I mean, we all hear the stories of people like going on rafts and just trying to get to Florida. We're working with one of our brothers in Christ down there that he's a doctor, and for the past 3 or 4 years approximately, we've been trying to get him over here, legally and through the system and all that. But it takes a lot of time. And so I think that when we were there, you could see the oppression that the government had on people. Just, you mentioned the rations. I mean, when we were there, they said, oh, you get some coffee and some rice, and you got to grow all your own stuff, and good luck with the rest. So it's really tough where we were. I
think that when they explained Castro's rise to power and the things that he was offering, communism sounded pretty good. I don't know if he was selling specifically a socialist mindset or a communist mindset at the time when he first was ascending, but some things that were really promising were rations of food, so everyone gets food every single month. Well, that quickly changed over time and just on the food portion to, okay, everyone does get food every month. It'll be coffee, rice, and beans. It's like, okay, that's fine. Around that time, the Cubans started not being able to eat beef.
I heard about this. I heard you can literally get arrested for eating beef or slaughtering a cow if you're not like a member of the government.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
And here we are, we were bringing beef jerky and stuff. We're like,
oh my gosh, I just realized when I go, I can't take my chomps.
Don't.
Oh my gosh, I gotta take
the
turkey chomps.
Turkey chomps, exactly.
That was my survival plan, was the chomps.
For sure. Just go turkey, like you said. Yeah, you'll be fine.
All right, good to know.
But isn't that interesting?
It's crazy to think, and we take that so for granted in this country. I had a burger last night for dinner.
So they had rice, beans, and coffee delivered every month. Then they would get 3 weeks worth of rice, beans, and coffee. Then 2 weeks, then 1 week, and then maybe it's enough for a few people in your house. But we didn't say every single person, every single day of every single month. What do you expect? We're doing the best we can.
Equivocation, it was sold on equivocation. We said we would give, but we didn't say we'd give that much. Wow. Incredible propaganda.
For sure. And that was something that was kind of eye-opening too, was so when we're in this house with the family that's hosting us, they're watching some movies being broadcasted. It's like a 90s movie. I don't know what it was.
It's Mexican. Like a Mexican soap opera to some extent. They said that anything they see is typically from Mexico.
Yeah. And so, I didn't know what it was, but what was interesting was there was no commercials in the sense that, back in my day on the television, they'd have like commercials for like,
Yeah.
oh, buy this or that, right? There it was all just propaganda. Every 15 minutes or so, it was like 2 to 3 minutes of propaganda, like straight up propaganda.
Wow.
And can you kind of explain what
Yeah.
that was
Can you
like?
give us
Because
an
I mean,
example?
when
Well,
somebody
weird.
says propaganda,
It was.
what did you expect to see versus what came on?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you expect like the Orwellian, like Big Brother's watching you,
Sure,
like
yeah.
don't mess up, like
Yeah.
it's just like I don't know, like a poster or like I don't know, but this was straight up propaganda in the sense that it was I don't know if do you know what's his name, the artist Pitbull here.
Yeah.
So like it was like a great value version of Pitbull. Like it was just like this guy who was like wearing like a Cuban like shirt that said like like Cuba and had the flag on it, and like every time it was just him like singing and like about like what I would assume to be Cuba's great.
And it sounded, I mean, I don't speak excellent Spanish, so I can't give a perfect translation, but it was something to the extent of like, Cuba is great, Cuba is wonderful.
And while he's singing, you have these images. They would show videos of like, back in the 60s, a Cuban boxer at the Olympics or wherever, like, boxing American or whatever. And they would cut the scene where the Cuban's throwing a punch, and then they would just cut that scene. You don't really know what happened. And it's like, wait a minute, or Cubans playing baseball, So it was the first time that like I'd actually experienced like, oh wow, this is like actually like legitimate like government propaganda. Like there's no commerce, there's no, commercial selling a product. It was just very intriguing.
That's
very,
wild.
Very, very wild. Yeah.
That is
So,
wild. And that's
yeah.
what their kids are raised on.
Yeah.
That's the TV they see. That is the.
And I think the internet has really changed everything, because I think that now, from the outside looking in, we can see that the Cubans are prisoners in their own country. But I think they now know it as well, which is tough, because when you see, the world and you see what people are able to do in other countries, specifically the United States, we're not perfect, but I truly believe we're the greatest country on this side of heaven.
Oh, we are.
But,
Absolutely.
And they now see that. And so we pray for Cuba, we pray for the Cubans.
And then
I do too.
when we see social media, you see influencers, and you recognize that there are some people in America that live on luxurious levels that most people could never imagine. People in Cuba don't know that.
They think that's everyone.
They think that's everyone.
They think Hollywood is everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone's
Wow.
always
I think the
happy,
world tends to
and
do that.
everything's always funny, and there's never suffering anywhere. And it's sad. It's a sad reality to then come to and recognize that it's not, even though the wealth exists here, it's still pocketed.
Yeah, for sure.
I would imagine that does add to the level of hopelessness and oppression that they're under, to have this idea of America being the sort of perfect, like utopian place, which I love America, but it's far from perfect.
Yeah.
We are so lucky to live here and experience what we experience.
For sure.
But that's so insightful to understand that there's this narrative that they are seeing online.
Oh yeah.
That is, it's not what we experience here.
Yeah.
It's a false narrative.
Sure. We still have struggles here.
Yeah, we still have struggles, and there are a lot of people in this country suffering and impoverished. So that's so incredible to understand that they are seeing what they can't attain, right?
Sure.
That it's both freedom and oppression all at the same time to have that information.
It's
Wow.
tough. It's tough. So that's why I pray for them a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
And
Amen.
I guess to add a little bit more to the monetary situation for them, they, as a doctor, our friend studied for 7 years, became a doctor there. It's not the same certification that would just transfer over here, though it's possibly the same equivalent knowledge.
sure.
So he works this time studying, and then he gets to his doctor's salary of $60 a month, 60 USD a month
Yeah.
is
Crazy.
basically how it would convert. That would work if things were cheaper there, but they're not. So imagine
Same
deciding to buy a pair of shoes for, the cheapest shoes you could buy, maybe $10, buy a pair of shoes for $10, or get enough rice for us to make it through the month. These decisions that they have to make, they don't have something beyond the bare essentials available to them.
And what I've heard is doctors, they can prescribe medication, but you'll go to the pharmacy and it's just not available.
Not there.
It's just not there. So it's like, it may or may not even be helpful to go to the doctor.
Exactly.
Yeah. Crazy.
So,
What is the solution?
Oh man, that's a big question.
I mean, obviously prayer and Jesus. One, how do we give the suffering a voice? And two, if as a country, America could do something, what do we do?
God,
right?
that's above my pay grade, I think. I mean,
it's above all of our pay grade, I think. But I just, if you had to take a stab at it, what can we do to help them?
There are people who want change.
Yeah.
There are people who are extremely intelligent, resourceful, and confident to be able to affect change.
In Cuba.
If the oppression were not so strong, if the fear of rebellion were not so high, and the consequences for rebellion were not so high, how is that anything that we can change? But we can encourage them to look to the Lord. That is really it. Because if we cannot make decisions for them as to whether it would be worth it for them and their family to try to cross the border, we can't make those types of decisions, and we don't have a right to an opinion about it.
Well, and I would add to that, and here's what I would say is, I don't necessarily know if, again, it's above my pay grade, but I think the individual relationships, at least that we've developed, I think that helping them become productive in their own country is going to be pivotal. So I think what that means practically, like for us is, our friend said, "Hey, I want to start a business, like a butchery type of business." So we said, "What do you need?" And then, we raise the capital to send him the equipment that he needs, so that we're not just giving them fish, but rather we're teaching them how to fish. Because I think it's very difficult to expect someone who has not had freedom their whole life to just all of a sudden know what to do with that freedom. I think that, not to belittle them, but I think that it's a paradigm shift.
It is a paradigm shift,
right? Of okay, the government's not going to provide for me anymore. So I think that slowly but surely, I think that what at least we've been called to do is to stop for the ones who have been introduced into our lives, right? And actually support them in creating skills and something of value that they can pass on to their children that is going to be able to help them eat every day. I think that in our lifetimes, will there be a revolution? I would probably say most likely. The problem is that they don't really have means to do that, to fight back. And so I think for us, and I don't know what other people can do. I don't know what the relations are right now, if people can come in and out freely. But, just those one-on-one relationships that we form, because they're people, they have families, they have kids. And so if we as Americans can say, you know what, we do have a surplus here, allow us to help you to start this agricultural business.
But you take the reins.
But you, exactly, right? It's just, because all businesses, the lifeblood of any business is cash flow, right? And so that's something that I think is a really difficult obstacle to overcome there. So I think that investing in individuals like that, I think that eventually, that's all that we've been told to do so far. So
I love that. It's about the one, right?
Yeah.
It's the way Jesus would do it, to pursue the one.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Truly. Yeah. And, it's just through a lot of prayer and I hope that eventually it gets to the point where people can, we're just talking about Cuba, it's just one country, but we're called to go out and into the world, and thankfully, these the people that we know, they know the gospel, and so ultimately, that's the most important thing, is that, like, hey, okay, we're going to be spending eternity together, right? This time here on this planet, how can we make it a better place for your kids? But ultimately, they know the ultimate victory is already won. But but yeah, you know,
So
I don't
good.
know. We'll see.
So good. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of other countries, you guys were in China for a while,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
Yeah,
Could you
it's cool.
speak a little bit about your experience there and what you did there?
Well, why don't you start? Because you've been there a couple of times.
I suppose I was there for 1 month, and then a year later, another month, and then a year later for almost a year. And each time to teach English. And that's a pretty common job for foreigners to take up. And it's pretty easy to teach English if you know it already. So we were very thankful to have a job at an English training center that was run by an American and her Chinese husband. That was a unique experience because he was a kung fu master.
Oh, wow.
That
How
was
fun.
unique.
Literal, yeah.
I would
Didn't
really
learn
teach
any-
me everything.
Yeah, I know, right?
Didn't learn any kung fu whatsoever, but
He's an interesting guy. He was an
He
interesting guy.
was an interesting character, that's for sure. I suppose there's so much to it. We were very thankful to have one friend come and visit us that had been very interested in what was going on there.
Yeah.
And she said, everything that you've told me, it doesn't sum up what you experience on a day-to-day basis. And I think that one thing that was really shocking is to go into a country. We were in a city that was considered a small city of about 7 million people.
Oh.
So that small
Wow.
city is about the
Okay.
size of LA.
Like,
So-
yeah, I was going to say LA, Dallas.
Yeah.
Like,
Large city here.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so going there, being as many people as we could count that looked like us in any regard was about 7. So
Whoa.
when you're one of 7 out of 7 million people, everyone knows who you are, and you know very few people. And so that was a challenge, is just instantaneous fame. They're the English teachers at this school. And so then that fame that you have, it lacks relationship, and it lacks the ability to communicate effectively with really anyone who doesn't know English until you learn enough Chinese. And so Mandarin specifically. And so going to Pizza Hut, the fanciest American restaurant with chandeliers
Pizza Hut. Wow.
and fancy floors. It's like the top of the top. So so we'd go to Pizza Hut and have paparazzi at the window.
Oh my gosh.
And
are
we're
you
nobody's.
serious?
Yeah.
So
There's
This is
Chinese paparazzi?
Well,
No,
no,
it
just,
felt
just
like
the,
it.
the average person.
Oh, like the average person
coming
is
up
like-
and take pictures of these people because
Oh my
they're
goodness.
they're Americans eating pizza at Pizza Hut.
How
We have to
wild.
take a picture of it.
Doesn't get more American than that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was very interesting going anywhere. You'd get into a taxi and everyone would assume that you can't give them directions to where you want to go.
Oh.
So you kind of have to put your face down, pull your hood up, and say it as quickly as you can in Mandarin, and then they would hopefully take you there before they realize that you're American.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So
I would say though, for us personally though, that we went there at the beginning of our marriage, and like at the start, and I would say that was a super refining for us, right, in a great way, because you're outside of your comfort zone.
Oh yeah.
You're in a foreign country, and like it's like, I mean, wild, just crazy,
It's like
right?
you have each other and you have the Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
truly, and it, and there were challenges that we faced that we obviously wouldn't have otherwise here, and so I think that is something that is very important. Is that if Americans, if we had a plane ticket, a Bible, and a passport, right? I think that we would find that a lot of our self-made problems would disappear pretty quickly. And I think that part of our experience as a married couple out there in China was very foundational in our relationship, right? Because it was a challenge that we both were in, and this was before kids. But it was a challenge that we both were going through with the Lord, and that was super refining. And so I'm not saying this is marital advice, but
No, you guys have a
for newer
beautiful
couples.
marriage, so please give us all marriage advice.
we're
No,
thankful.
Everyone, we need it.
Yeah, I mean, first
Yeah.
and foremost, it's the Lord, of course. And
Yeah.
it sounds so cheesy, but like
No.
it's so true.
It has to be that way.
If you're not equally yoked, like I was in a pretty bad relationship before I met Krista, and I remember just like telling the Lord, like, Lord, I completely surrender like I want to be married, but you need to bring the right girl to me. Like, I'm not going to go out on the prowl and looking. And you know, thankfully that you know, he brought me you, and so I think that obviously is first and foremost the most important thing is like you have to have a strong relationship with the Lord. Like that's vital, right? But I would encourage like, you know, people who are newlyweds or you know, thinking about getting married, like travel with them, you know, like obviously in a biblical way, so that you can go through those challenges and see how they react, right?
Yeah.
And go through those trials together, you know?
Yeah.
So,
See how they react to adversity, under stress, when they're exhausted, and see if that's something that is, if they're coachable on it, if you're coachable on it, and self-evaluate before pointing fingers, because
That's so good.
do a mission trip together, travel together, because you're going to see that, you know, and it, you know, like in my line of work, I hear all the time, like people will say like, oh, you know, when so-and-so, my brother got money, it changed him. Right. And I usually would challenge people and say like, well, let me offer a different point of view.
Yeah.
I don't think that it changed that person. I think it just actually amplified and it brought out who they truly are.
Activated something.
That
was in there.
Yeah. And I think that that's the same for traveling, is that if you can, you know, go on that missions trip with someone that, you know, you're dating or something, I think that's a good litmus test.
Oh, that's such a good word.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's amazing. Well, that's a great segue into, I wanted to talk about your company a little bit, because I think what you're doing is so incredible.
Yeah.
So it's called
Independence
Financial.
Yep.
Yeah. Could you explain a little bit about what you guys do? Because I just think it's so unique and cool and incredible.
Yeah. So, like all great things that a husband comes up with, it starts with the wife.
I love that.
Take no credit.
No, I love this.
So I've been in the financial planning world for coming on 9 years now. Really with an emphasis in retirement planning. That's kind of the worldly answer, right?
And you guys are based in San Diego.
We're based in San Diego. And then we have location in Michigan as well. And then we're actually opening up an office in Redlands, Southern California area.
Cool.
So yeah, about 2 hours north of San Diego. But yeah, so I'm doing that for coming on 9 years now. And before we had Endependence Financial, I was with a broker dealer before, and unfortunately they made some decisions that didn't really line up with my biblical worldview. And so the senior advisor that I was with, him and I, we basically said, hey, we're going to go independent. And so basically that's how Endependence was created, is that our goal is to help our clients independence on two things. Number one, the 9 to 5, right? If you have been working that 9 to 5 for, 30 years, and you're ready to independence on that paycheck, that's the first thing. And then secondly, we want to independence on the federal government, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want people to have to depend on the government taking care of them. Mm-hmm. And that kind of mentality of not independence that, oh, look what I made and look what I did, but rather, how can you be a wise steward with what God has blessed you with so that you are not dependent upon what the federal government says, right?
So good.
Yeah. And we don't want any of our clients' loved ones to be what they would refer to as a ward of the state or taking care of the state. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know about you, but the government can't really get the DMV like 100% correct, or the post office, right? I don't know if the government anymore.
I'm gonna bite my tongue about what I was gonna say about
that. Yeah, I mean, like it goes on, right?
It's not the place you want to be.
Yeah, like it wasn't designed for that.
Love them,
right? Like they just, they can't get it together.
It's not efficient.
It's not.
No.
And I truly believe that. That God has made us to be stewards over our households, and so anyway, so all that to say is, on the surface, the worldly answer would be, oh, you handle investments and retirement accounts, and it's like, no, that's what the world would say, right? But it's deeper than that, because we have these relationships with our clients, and I have to look at a client in their eyes and say, I'll make sure that your loved ones are taken care of when you're gone.
Wow.
Because I don't know if you know this, but this is crazy. So do you know what the human death rate is right now?
I don't.
It's crazy. Do you know what it is? Oh, you know what it is. Yeah. It's 100%.
100%.
Well, yeah, none of us are getting out of here alive. Like we're all going to die. Like it's 100%, right? So like the death rate is 100%. I mean, like Jesus maybe changed that statistic a little bit. Like, like maybe it's like,
folks, none of us are going to make it.
Maybe it's 99.99%, right? But like we're all going to pass away someday, right? And
it's only like Moses Moses and Elijah got taken up. The rest of us, we're going to see death.
Like it's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
And so like
It's
I have to be able to look at my clients and say like, when that day happens, right? Like your family is going to be okay, right? And that is so much more important than, I'm kind of ranting on this, but I think it's so important. No,
this is good. Keep going.
There's the two sides of money that I think are important to understand, and that's the numerical side is the first part, right? That's like the technical analysis, like Spock, like, okay, use my spreadsheet and use this software. And believe it or not, that's the easy part, right? The easy part is how do we take your nest egg and turn it into a distribution plan that will last for the rest of your life and your kid's life and your grandkids' life, right? Like that's the easy part, believe it or not. The hard part is the behavioral side, where we have to, I have clients on both sides of the spectrum. I have clients who have saved, so much money, and they will never spend that money, right? And they won't even go like on a vacation with their grandkids. And I have to get them into this behavioral mindset of it's okay to use the resources that God has blessed you with. God wants you to have a great time with your grandkids, right? That side of the spectrum. And then I have clients who, they're like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even, I haven't saved anything. It's like, okay, well, let's start with some baby steps kind of thing, right? And so I think it's really important to just break it up into, when most people think about financial planning, they just think about the numerical side. And they think that as financial advisors, our job is to tell them to stop spending money, but that's not true. More of my clients, I have to tell them, you need to spend more and live a little bit more.
Right. This is what the money is for.
It's what it's
for
here
your
for.
Life, to enrich your life. Yeah.
And a lot of those clients come from other countries that where they started with nothing. But it's really fascinating to me because it says like, I'll put up there on the projection screen, I'll put up the numbers and say like, hey, if you don't spend this money, you're going to end up with X amount, and guess what your kids are going to do with that? They're like, they're going to spend it themselves. And it's like, yeah. So wouldn't it make more sense to enjoy your family while you're alive rather than leave them all of this? I'm not saying don't leave them anything.
So good.
Right?
Yeah, so good.
And that's a huge shift right now is don't leave a legacy, but rather live a legacy.
So good.
Right? And so
that's a word.
It used to be, I want to leave as much as I can to my family, but what our job is to balance, yes, leave them something, but also the behavioral side, enjoy it with them while they're alive, right? And so
I love that. I love the holistic nature of what your company does.
For sure.
And how it's about the person, right? Again, it's about the one.
It truly is.
It truly is about the one.
And it's fascinating to me is that one of my favorite games to play is chess, and I love chess because aside from the openings, which are usually very similar, but no game is the same. Every game is different, and it's a complex puzzle that you have to solve based on the moves that are made. And so, every single client has a story. Every single household has a story. And it's just amazing to me. And, not one is the same. They're all different. And so I'm looking forward to, maybe working with Trinity Alps and getting some of those stories,
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that.
On camera and on paper. So,
yes, I am beyond elated at the prospect of doing that. Oh my gosh, the legacy of the people that you've worked with and their incredible lives.
Yeah, everyone has a story.
Everyone has a story, and everyone has a writer's voice. I believe that truly. Like everyone can write. Everyone has a story that needs to be told.
Yeah, I agree.
Look around. People living life in the dark and they're broken. Man, we gotta slow down. If we choose to ignore it, then our hearts get frozen. Everybody has a purpose, and everybody has a story that's worth sharing. We need a little more love and a little more caring.